always our timing. He may not work things out the way we planned, but He is working things out for better. This COVID-19 pandemic has really changed everything around the world, from our basic routinary way of living to celebration of big events has suddenly shifted to new normal. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our virtual graduation and moving up ceremonies, batch 2020-2021, with the theme Strengthening the Quality of Education amid the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Jeneline R. Cabrera.
Carmela Marie M. Reyes,
Christy D. Subaldo.
We are the masters of ceremonies for this one of most unforgettable event of every learners.
Start with, here are the San Rafael Elementary School teaching force, headed by Ma'am Jasmine Y. Soriano, Principal 1. Kindergarten teacher, Ma'am Lizelle D. Calianta. Grade 1 teachers, Ma'am Salvacion D. Valencia and Ma'am Villugin A. Dotton. Grade 2 teachers, Ma'am Leticia V. Pasqua and Ma'am Melanie V. Torres. Grade 3 teachers, Ma'am Telma G. Dumanay and Ma'am Christy D. Subaldo. Grade 4 teachers, Ma'am Jeneline R. Cabrera and Ma'am Noemi M. Martinez. Grade 5 teachers, Ma'am Marilu T. Munoz and Ma'am Carmela Marie M. Reyes. Grade 6 teachers, Ma'am Erlinda D. Valencia and Ma'am Daisy J. Alejo. Relieving teachers, Sir Randy F. Munoz and Sir Dennis L. James.
Opening prayer. Let's bow our heads and place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this important event. May you bestow your guidance and blessings on this event so that we can enjoy and appreciate its significance in our lives. Bless everyone present here today, that each one of us may be able to share what he or she have for your glory and honor. Grant good health and safety to our loved ones left at home, and peace and goodwill to all men. May the various activities related to this event be a success through your intervention. We ask all of these in your name. Amen.
And the rivers, through the plains and winding trails, to the shores where breezes linger. That's the place I love so well. It's the home of men who love her, men who died to keep us free. Region 1, oh Region 1, dearest home by far to me. From her care I learn my lessons, in her veils I work and play. She has kept me safe and happy as I live on day by day. Though to other lands I wander, as I search for wealth and fame, in my heart I will remember Region 1, beloved name. Region 1, oh Region 1, there's no better place I see. Region 1, oh Region 1, dearest of my far to me. Other lands I wander, as I search for wealth and fame. In my heart I will remember Region 1, beloved name. Region 1! Pangasinan yang binabli, daan mo tani aligwas, iuragod ko lawas. Dan puso Pangasinan, agkanalingwanan, luyak ko yan ianagan, bedegdakan yaman. Muna kaya nungdula, kasih maluri mapula. Say pagkakasakti na kay nalilig na, labot ka na mabrisika. Say dayang mundak na'y natuktan sa'y naman, sa nagkakapalan ngayon. Taroy ng tansamping mo Pangasinan, Oriental lawas Bangayan, lawas takkan itang duro Pangasinan, arun kakal bayukuan, kanang apupong niya wala na bangunan, ikikinon kusyubangan, Pangasinan luyang imanyaman.
Vastine and rolling plains give life to the sturdy ends. Men, women, young and old find hope and glory in this fold. This home of great joy and gladness, of fertile lands and green valleys, nature that captures the eye and soul. Oh, fled the heart of doubt and peace. East to west, from north to south, faithful ones pack and gather at the pilgrim of the North, whispering a common prayer resounding. Mabuhay, mabuhay, Pangasinan to I sing mabuhay to you. Oh, men find hope and glory in this world. Oh, I sing mabuhay Pangasinan too.
Let us hear words of welcome to be given by Ma'am Telma G. Dumanay, Master Teacher 1 of San Rafael Elementary School.
Our very kind and dynamic school principal, Ma'am Jasmine Y. Soriano, the equally supportive barangay officials, headed by their barangay chairman, Barangay Captain P.P. Valencia of San Rafael West, Barangay Captain Filipino Bibat of San Rafael Centro, and Barangay Captain Melinda Rodillas of San Rafael East, their parents, the untiring teachers of San Rafael Elementary School, graduates, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to each and everyone. Graduation ceremony is the most awaited part of your journey in education. At the start of the school year, as if you will not able to finish or reach the end of this endeavor, which is the graduation. But now, at this moment, you are happy indeed. So with your parents, that at long last, you are now to receive your diploma of completion. And you are lucky because even we are at the midst of pandemic, because of the advanced technology, you are still have this what we call the virtual graduation, wherein they can see and witness your graduation. In behalf of the teaching staff of San Rafael Elementary School and the graduates, accept our warmest welcome to each and everyone. Your presence made the occasion more meaningful. To the parents, thank you for supporting your children. And to the graduates, congratulations.
Now, let's look and read the graduation messages that will surely inspire us, especially to our graduates of class 2020-2021. To begin with, our DepEd Secretary, Leonor Magtoles Briones. Sir Tolentino G. Aquino, our Regional Director. Let us hear also the graduation message of our school's Division Superintendent, Dr. Danilo C. Season, CESO 5.
The proud parents and guardians, partners, stakeholders, school officials, teachers, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant day to everyone. Situated in this new normal atmosphere, we don't have the usual and traditional way of culminating the school year, recognizing the outstanding graduates, and celebrating the success of our children who are graduating today. Having hurdled the strenuous requirements of graduation. Despite the hardship, sacrifices, and stressful situation that we are in, brought about by this pandemic, our teachers, parents, and stakeholders work hard collaboratively to ensure the continuity of learning among our school children using all the available media to facilitate its acquisition. The SDO Pangasinan 2 wish to congratulate our proud graduates batch 2021. Our warmest greetings to our school managers, teachers, staff, parents, and guardians who have helped and guided our graduates attain this momentous event in their lives. Graduation is a testimony to the enduring and resilient spirit of the Filipinos for their ability to stand up, to bounce back, and to conquer the odds, just like the ongoing hardship and challenging brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Through our innate optimism to see the light and the end of every challenges in life. For so many times, we have proven that we can surmount any adversity by sharing a hand with each other in times of darkness and trials. The many challenging moments we have endured tempted us sometimes to give up, but our hearts refuses to be broken by deep distress. We don't lose our hope because of the strong faith we share with each other, even in the most trying time of circumstances. We may be battered, but definitely never defeated. Having undergone a lot of honing and guidance through the patient, loving and caring tutelage of your teachers, you graduates are now ready to face the new chapter of your educational journey. Life challenges may not be easy, but you have learned at home and in the school that a success never comes easy the way we wish it, but rather through hard work and perseverance, inspired by our Divine Almighty, which serves as our guiding light. To the graduates, again, my congratulations. We wish you all the best in your journey towards reaching your dreams and aspirations. God bless and mabuhay.
Dr. Wilfredo E. Sindayen, OIC Assistant Schools Division Superintendent. Dr. Rosalino T. Agpalo Jr., Chief, School Governance and Operation Division. Another graduation message from our Chief, Curriculum Implementation Division, Dr. Cornelio R. Aquino.
Ang ating mabuting tagapamanihala ng ikalawang dibisyon ng Pangasinan, Dr. Danilo C. Sison, kapwa magagaling na pangalawang tagapamanihala, Dr. Wilfredo E. Sindayen at Dr. Arlene B. Kasipit, ang tapat na lingkod ng ating kagawaran, SGOD Chief Dr. Rosalino T. Agpalo Jr., mga pinagpipitaganang education program supervisors, mga public schools district supervisors, senior program specialist, education program specialist, mga mapagpunyagi at ang ating mga frontliners ng DepEd, ang ating magigiting na mga guro, mga ulong guro at punong guro ng ating paaralan sa elementarya at sekundarya, ang ating LGU officials, partner at stakeholders ng ating paaralan, mga PTA officials na parating umaalalay sa atin sa araw ng ating kagipitan, mga magsisipagtapos, mga completers at kanilang mga magulang, kapatid at kamag-anak, mga kaibigan, isang mapagpalang araw sa inyong lahat. Sa mga araw ng pandemya, tayo ay lubos na nag-alala kung ang pag-aaral ng ating mga kabataan ay magpapatuloy pa o hindi na. Maraming beses na nagkaroon ng pag-urong ng petsa ng ating pasukan. May ilang hindi na pabor na magkakaroon ng pag-aaral sa paaralan at maraming alinlangan na baka hindi na natin kayang maitawid ang school year 2020-21. Ang school year na ito ay tumatak sa ating lahat. Taon na takot at pangamba. Taon ng pagkawala ng maraming trabaho ng ating mga kababayan. Taon na kailangang ilayo natin ang ating sarili sa iba upang maiwasan ang paglaganap ng virus. Taon na wala ang mga mag-aaral sa loob ng paaralan at ang pagtuturo ay sa pamamagitan ng distance learning o modular na pamaraan. Taon na kailangan ng mga magulang at kapatid ay magtulong-tulong upang mairaos ang pag-aaral ng kanilang anak, ang kanilang kapatid. Taon na kailangan ang internet upang maabot ang mga mag-aaral at mga magulang. Nagkokontento tayo kahit putol-putol basta maihatid lamang ang mensahe ng pag-aaral. Taon na nauso ang salitang virtual, distance learning, SLMs, modules, portfolio making, log-in, log-out, Google Meeting, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams, Zoom at iba pa. Ito rin ang taon na gawin ang mga magulang na maghintay, pumila at magbalik ng mga modules. 80 beses lang naman ang ginawang pagpila, pagkuha at pagbalik ng mga ito sa mga drop-off points para lang makompleto ang mga requirements na tapusin ng kanilang mahal na anak. Ito rin ang taon na nakakayamot sa paghihintay ng mga guro sa mga nagawang activities ng mga mag-aaral. Dahil marami daw sa kanila ang mahirap magsauli ng mga ito dahil sa samot-saring kadahilanan. Hay, ang daming kwento. Ngunit sa araw na ito gusto ko kayong saluduan at pasalamatan dahil sa matagumpay na naabot natin ang isang taon. Hangarin ng bawat isa na dapat matuto pa rin ang mga kabataan kahit nasa gitna ng krisis sa buhay. Salamat sa mga guro at ulong guro ng ating paaralan sa kanilang dedikasyon at pilit na gawin ang mga bagay-bagay upang mairaos ang mahirap na taon na pag-assess ng kaalaman ng ating kabataan sa panahon ng panganib. Ang mga imposibleng bagay ay naging posible sa kanilang diskarte at pamumuno. Sa mga magulang, kayo ang bida. Kayo ang nagpumilit upang sa bawat linggo ng pag-aaral ng iyong anak, kahit mahirap at mahaba ang pila at mainit ang panahon na umaabot na sa 50, 51 o 52 na natala na init ng panahon, nagtiis kayo para lamang maiuwi ang mga modules at maibalik ang mga ito sa tamang panahon. Salamat sa walang humpay na tiyaga, pagtitiis at pagtustos sa pangangailangan ng iyong mga anak. Ito ang iyong pinagsikapan. Kahit ito ay mahirap, kaya ang araw na ito ay araw din na dapat bigyan kayo ng parangal dahil sa gininto ang nagawa ninyo para sa minamahal na mag-aaral. Sa mga magsisipagtapos, congratulations sa inyong lahat. Ngunit hindi pa ito ang tuldok ng pag-aaral. Ito pa lang ang simula ng laban sa mas mataas na edukasyon na iyong inaasam. magsumikap, magtiyaga, at magpasalamat palagi sa Diyos at sa mga magulang na nagsusubaybay sa inyong pagkamit ng pangarap sa buhay. Magpatuloy at maging handa sa lahat ng laban kahit na sa panahon ng pandemya. Subukan pa rin ihakbang ang mga paa sa landasin na medyo mahirap, matinik, makipot, ngunit sa huli, ang tagumpay naman ang inyong makakamit. Ako bilang lingkod ng DepEd at mga kasama ko sa Curriculum Implementation Division, magpapatuloy kami na magbibigay ng abot ng lahat ng aming makakaya upang mapaganda at maihatid namin ang magaling na sistema sa pag-aaral dito sa ating dibisyon sa mga sumusunod na mga taon. Kasama namin kayo sa pagkamit ng iyong pangarap sa buhay. Magtiwala tayo sa Diyos na parating tumitingin at nakikinig sa ating daing at handang magbigay ng lahat ng ating pangangailangang pisikal, pinansyal at espiritual. Sa mga araw na mahirap, magsumikap. Sa mga araw ng kawalan, kapit lang sa itaas. Ngunit gusto ko ring baunin natin ang mga katagang nasa tao ang gawa, nasa Diyos ang awa. Ang pagpapala ng Diyos ay sumasa ating lahat. Isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Dr. Alicia L. Primicias Enriquez, Municipal Mayor of our town, San Nicolas. Also to our Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Lilani U. Malikdam.
My warmest greetings to all the graduates of school year 2020-2021. On behalf of San Nicolas District 1, I commend your determination, perseverance, and hard work which led you to this milestone despite being tested in an extraordinary time. While this historic season gave unprecedented challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, I am confident that you will continue to quest for excellence and have a successful future. May you also continue to uphold the core values of your alma mater and DepEd being makadiyos, makatao, makakalikasan, and makabansa. Bear in mind that while education is your right, it is also bestows upon you a greater responsibility to contribute to the betterment of our society. I salute the teachers for molding the minds of our learners in producing the much-needed knowledge and competencies under the K-12 basic education program. Hours may be long and duties may be exhausting, but shaping the future of our learners will definitely improve their lives. My beloved parents, thank you for being the effective and efficient partner of the DepEd in the implementation of the distance learning program. Your guidance and support have helped build their confidence in themselves. You have exerted a powerful influence on their overall development. Finally, it is with confidence to say that you have given our theme for this year, strengthening the quality of education amid the COVID-19 pandemic, a very special meaning. Again, my congratulations to everyone. God bless and mabuhay.
And last but not the least, to our humble Principal 1 of San Rafael Elementary School, Ma'am Jasmine Y. Sariano.
To our school's division superintendent, Dr. Danilo C. Sison, to our OIC in charge of elementary, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Wilfredo E. Sindayen, to our Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Dr. Cornelio R. Aquino, to our School Governance and Operations Division Chief, Dr. Rosalino T. Atbalo, to our compassionate and loving Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Lailani Yumalikdem, to our beloved and service-oriented Municipal Mayor, Dr. Alicia Privisillas Enriquez, to all the members of the Sangguniang Bayan, headed by the hardworking and approachable Municipal Vice Mayor, Honorable Alvin O. Bravo, to the industrious Municipal Councilor Committee in Education, Honorable Amorsolo R. Polido, to the equally hardworking and workaholic barangay captains, Punong Barangay Melinda G. Rodillas of Barangay San Rafael East, Punong Barangay Filipino T. Bibat of Barangay San Rafael Centro, Punong Barangay Pepe B. Valencia of Barangay San Rafael West, together with the barangay councils, to the very supportive General PTA President Mrs. Jasmine A. Perez, officers and members, to our generous internal and external stakeholders, to the kinder completers batch 2021, to the graduating class batch 2021, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to each and everyone. Warmest congratulations to our graduates and completers of school year 2020-21. Completion and graduation signify an achievement to reckon with, as one will be treading a higher level of journey in the educational landscape. It is an event worth sharing and celebrating with your parents, family members, teachers, administrators, and other stakeholders who have been part of your success. This is the moment to recognize all your efforts and hard work as you burn your midnight candles to acquire added knowledge, skills, and competencies, and to develop further your attitudes and values, to overcome the challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, and to look forward for a brighter future ahead as you leave the portals of your alma mater. I am happy that the journey has to hand to face new challenges ahead in your lives. Your parents must have been very proud of you. I salute you, parents, for the full support and guiding and caring for you to finish your studies up to this level. Thank them for they serve as our partners in molding and guiding your path to embark on your dreams despite of some changes in the process, relationship and activities in the day-to-day lives. I do hope you become more mature and responsible person. I salute the teachers for the effort and resources they put in education, all aimed at developing you holistically. Thank them for all the opportunities given to you. Their sacrifices and aspirations for you fade off today as you receive your certificates. I salute the internal and stakeholders for the love and support in the printing, delivery, and retrieval of self-learning modules for the successful implementation of the learning delivery modality. Give thanks to the Lord for His steadfast love and guidance, for I do believe that He will always make a way, whatever comes. Graduates and completers, go, study and work hard. Be equipped, be blessed as you follow your dreams and continue build the Filipino nation. Your life is your story, and the adventure ahead of you is the journey to fulfill your own purpose and potential. according to Kerry Washington. Congratulations and God bless us all.
Let's proceed to the presentation of the graduates for confirmation and acceptance given by Ma'am Jasmine Weisseriano, Principal 1 of San Rafael Elementary School.
Now, Dr. Danilo C. Season, Schools Division Superintendent. Sir, I have the honor to present to you the candidates for graduation for school year 2020-2021 of San Rafael Elementary School, of whom 27 are male, 26 are female, a total of 53 graduating pupils. I hereby certify that they have satisfactorily completed all the requirements of the K-12 curriculum prescribed by the Department of Education. May I therefore request you to confirm their graduation.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the DepEd Secretary Leonor Magtoles Briones, through the Regional Director, Dr. Tolentino G. Aquino, and in my capacity as the Schools Division Superintendent of SDO Pangasinan 2, acting upon the strong recommendations of your school head and teachers, that you have satisfactorily completed all the requirements for graduation prescribed by the DepEd on elementary or secondary education, I now accept and confirm you graduates of your respective schools for the school year 2020-2021. On the day of our Lord, July 2021, thereby granting you the right to enjoy all the privileges attached to it. Congratulations.
Kindergarten, Batch 2020-2021. Advisor, Mrs. Lisel D. Calianta. List of completers. Coco B. Abe. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gerald A. Abe. John Riggs B. Abe. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Feliciano T. Abe Jr. Russell Carlven C. Abe. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ruperto A. Abe. Jaren R.V. P. Alafriz. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arvin M. Alafriz. Lance C. Argueza. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Cesar L. Argueza. J.R. B. Bartolome. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jerome J. Bartolome. Billy G. Bautista. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Benji B. Bautista. Briggs Jacob L. Bibat. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bonnie L. Bibat. Rafael L. Bibat. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rogelio C. Bibat Sr. Jacoby Zayam U. Cabaon. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jeromar P. Cabaon. Luke Daniel S. Cayaban. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert S. Cayaban. R.D. Gibe B. Colcol. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Guillermo L. Colcol Jr. Aldrich Rio B. Dedican. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ray A. Dedican. Prince Adrian A. Dutton. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Eugene C. Dutton. Nathaniel D. Gonzalez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jojo R. Gonzalez. Zian Zedric G. Ibana. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Frederick C. Ibana. Arjan A. Laja. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. J.R. A. Laja. John Lloyd F. Mengua. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Virgilio C. Mengua. Jared R. Narcisse. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jennifer M. Narcisse. Raymart P. Narcisse. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo C. Narcisse. Jemar D. Pagaduan. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ernesto D. Pagaduan Jr. Jason George Pasawa. Parents, Mrs. Joanna P. Laja. Enrico B. Rujo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ruel D. Rujo. Mark Zanjo V. Torres. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnel O. Torres. Junel D. Valdez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joel A. Valdez. Althea B. Almodovar. Parents, Miss Michelle A. Vidania. Nicole E. Ancheta. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark Kevin L. Ancheta. Elsie Nuena A. Avila. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Noel D. Avila. Mariel D. Bautista. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Inocencio C. Bautista Jr. Iniasha C. Bidanya. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo D. G. Bidanya. Jamaica C. Bidanya. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Benji A. Bidanya. Rizal Monique R. Bidanya. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Raymond B. Bidanya. Reggie Alvea E. Bucobo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rico B. Bucobo. Angela Jane A. Brunjal. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arwin V. Brunjal. Janine Althea F. Bustamante. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jomar A. Bustamante. Misty Ann E. Campos. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mick Anthony G. Campos. Riara C. Colcol. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Reynaldo N. Colcol. Sheena L. Colcol. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leopoldo T. Colcol. Andrea A. De Fiesta. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Frederick C. De Fiesta. Nicole R. Doctor. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dennis S. Doctor. Queen Andre Joran T. Dutton. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ireneo C. Dutton. Althea Nancy T. Esteban. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Primitivo and Mrs. Randy L. Ladja. Rhea Rose C. Ladja. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ramel A. Ladja. Edrin K. P. Macapagal. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Edmond D. Macapagal. Alexa S. Madrigal. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alex H. Madrigal. Chantal May M. Malapit. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin J. Malapit. Kendrick U. Manas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Frederick D. Manas. Darlene May M. Pasis. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dan B. Pasis. Juliana B. Pasawa. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Guillermo A. Pasawa. Lori B. Pasqua. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rolly V. Pasqua. Ayesha Samantha R. Rodriguito. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Dante R. Rodriguito. Denise Abigail B. Rodriguito. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph R. Rodriguito. Remeline R. Romeo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renato C. Romeo. Ashley May R. Sarmiento. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mark J.V. C. Sarmiento. Athena Yvette Soriano. Parents, Miss Jennifer T. Soriano. Julian C. Tamayo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Julito R. Tamayo Jr. Shanella Shanti Domínez. Parents, Miss Shamika Z. Domínez. Ivy P. Domínez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Christian A. Domínez. Mary Ann P. Domínez. Parents, Mr. Joseph C. Domínez. Lorraine S. Stoico. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leomar S. Stoico. Crystal Mary L. Trinidad. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melchor M. Trinidad. Zaira E. Trinidad. Parents, Mr. Jonathan T. Trinidad.
Grade 6 Anthorium, Batch 2021. Advisor, Ma'am Daisy J. Alejo. Grade 6 Anthorium, Batch 2021. Advisor, Ma'am Daisy J. Alejo. John Joshua D. Aguirre. Parent, Mrs. Leland D. Aguirre. J. Renwick J. Alejo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Louie A. Alejo. J.R. R. Ducal. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Alfonso L. Ducal. John Vic C. Castillo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Victor F. Castillo. Alfred N. Fulco. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Genaro V. Fulco. Mark Ranji P. Dutal. Parents, Mr. Randy L. Dutal. Joris B. Fajardo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jose M. Fajardo. Renz Andre M. Lamigo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renato I. Lamigo. John Angelo G. Lucena. Guardians, Mr. and Mrs. Juanito T. Lucena. Jerry Mark C. Manangat. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gary J. Manangan. Prince Eric T. Munoz. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Randy F. Munoz. Mark Jason L. Tumines. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason A. Tumines. Gambi P. Valdez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Robert G. Valdez. Beatriz P. Vivat. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Benedict D. Vivat. Christine Joy D. Dilun. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Riddell S. Diluna. April Jane L. Dutimas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Julio A. Dutimas. Sweet Apple A. Duton. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Eugene D. Duton. Eileen B. Escosio. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Fidel D. Escosio. Diane C. Estoril. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo C. Estoril. Leslie Jam S. Fernandez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rojan J. Fernandez. Rian Ruth B. Laiko. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricarte L. Laiko. Princess T. Llanero. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jacobo L. Llanero. Jomeline G. Rodriguez. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jojo P. Rodriguez. Hasley D. Rujo. Parent, Mr. Benigno S. Rujo Jr. Precious Jane C. Rujo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leopoldo D. Rujo. Tricia May D. Cerquinia. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romel D. Cerquinia. Beatriz Santa Ana. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Michael Douglas A. Laiko. Grade 6 Carnation. Batch 2020-2021. Advisor, Ma'am Erlinda D. Valencia. Mark Rojan D. Alterado. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Orlando C. Alterado Jr. A.G. D. Cordial. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Armando B. Cordial. M.G. D. Cordial. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Armando B. Cordial. Marquiselo C. Dayos. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Cesar V. Dayos. Danilo A. De La Peña. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Bobby A. De La Peña. David Ray C. Dimas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo A. Dimas. Cian Kobe C. Janelle. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. William Mark M. Janelle. Kyle Neji S. Ladines. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Frederick L. Ladines. Clerk Jancel C. Lanceta. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marvin Y. Lanceta. Jake B. Nindioro. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romel L. Nindioro. Arvin D. Pasis. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Arnaldo B. Pasis. Cyrus John A. Pasawa. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Michael P. Pasawa. Vincent V. Tamayaw. Parents, Mrs. Marilyn V. Tamayaw. Jaynard Stephen L. Trinidad. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Melchor M. Trinidad. Althea Jade A. Bacatano. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Ray M. Bacatano. Crystal Rain R. Cabonatilla. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rinaldo L. Cabonatilla. Zairine Miel L. Culcol. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renato N. Culcol. Shanette L. Dutimas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romeo A. Dutimas Jr. Ramzel O. Duton. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Eddie L. Duton. Bea L. Hames. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Joel C. James Sr. Jeremy P. Ladines. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Richard P. Ladines. Mariel Arjan A. Rico. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Armando G. Rico. Princess Giselle May L. Sebastian. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jackie G. Sebastian. Micheline Joy Y. Trinidad. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Romel L. Trinidad. Princess Julian R. Trinidad. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert O. Trinidad. Trisha May B. Trinidad. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Leomar M. Trinidad. Awarding of Academic Excellence Award to honor pupils. Academic Excellence Award, Grade 6 Ontario. Advisor, Ma'am Daisy J. Alejo. With honors, Jean Joshua D. Aguirre. Parent, Mrs. Leland D. Aguirre. With honors, J. Renwick J. Alejo. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Louis A. Alejo. With honors, Jerry Mark C. Manangan. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gary J. Manangan. With honors, Prince Eric T. Munoz. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Randy F. Munoz. With honors, Mark Jason L. Tuminas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jason A. Tuminas. With honors, Beatrice P. Biban. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Benedict D. Biban. With honors, Eileen B. Escocia. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Fidel D. Escocia. With honors, Dayan C. Estoril. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo C. Estoril. With honors, Rayan Ruth V. Laico. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ricarte L. Laico. With honors, Jomeline G. Rodriguito. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jojo P. Rodriguito. Academic Excellence Award, Grade 6 Carnation. With honors, David Ray C. Dutimas. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Danilo A. Dutimas. With honors, Clerk Jancel C. Lanceta. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Marvin Y. Lanceta. With honors, Cyrus John A. Pasawa. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Michael T. Pasawa. With honors, Althea J. A. Bacatano. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. John Ray M. Bacatano. With honors, Crystal Rain R. Cabulitalia. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rinaldo L. Cabulitalia. With honors, Zyrene Niel L. Pulcon. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Renato N. Pulcon. With honors, Jeremy P. Ladines. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Richard P. Ladines. With honors, Princess Giselle May L. Sebastian. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jackie G. Sebastian. With honors, Princess Jillian R. Trinidad. Parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert O. Trinidad.
Awarding of Loyalty Parents School Year 2020-2021. Mr. and Mrs. Victor F. Castillo. Mr. and Mrs. Armando B. Cordial. Mr. and Mrs. Fidel D. Escocio. Mr. and Mrs. Joel C. Canes Sr. Mr. and Mrs. Randy F. Munoz. Mr. and Mrs. Arnaldo B. Pasis. Mr. Benigno S. Rujo Jr. Mrs. Marilyn V. Tamayaw. Mr. and Mrs. Robert G. Valdez.
This time, let us hear the graduation messages of the 3 hardworking barangay captains of San Rafael. Begin with Punong Barangay Melinda G. Rodillas of Barangay San Rafael East.
Mainit na pagbati ang inihahatid ko sa mga magsisipagtapos ngayong taong pamparalan 2020-2021. Binabati ko rin ang mga guro, magulang, at sa lahat ng tumulong at sumuporta sa mga magsisipagtapos ngayong panahon ng pandemya para matapos nila ang unang yugto ng edukasyon at muling hahatak ng mas komplikadong paraan ng pag-aaral. Alam ko sa panahong ito, marami kayong naranasang hirap. Nandyan ang pagpupuyat, pagod sa pagbabasa ng mga modules, kasama ang inyong mga magulang. Pero pilit ninyong binalikat ito para lamang mapagtagumpayan ang landas ng tagumpay, ang pagtatapos. Sana, gaano man kahirap ang inyong pinagdaanan, dublihin ang kasipagan, pagtitiyaga at determinasyon dahil ang mga ito ang paraan para makamit ang minimithi sa buhay. Alalahanin ninyo na ang edukasyon ang pinakamahalagang sandata habang tayo ay nabubuhay. At ito ang pamana sa atin ng ating mga magulang na hindi makukuha, maililipat at mananakaw ng sinuman. Bagkus, ito'y para sa iyo lamang. Dala-dala mo ito kahit saan at hanggang sa iyong pagpanaw. Muli, congratulations and happy graduations. Good luck to your next journey.
And graduation message of Punong Barangay Pepe P. Valencia of Barangay San Rafael West.
Mga gili kong mag-aral ng mababang paralan ng San Rafael na magsisipagtapos ngayon. Malugod akong bumabati sa inyong matagumpay na pagtatapos. Sa panahon ngayon, mas bumibigat ang mga hamon sa pag-aaral dulot na di inaasahan mga pagsubok na hatid ng pandemya ng COVID-19. Isang napakalaking tagumpay ninyo at ng inyong pamilya ang makapagtapos ng inyong pag-aaral. Marami kayong dinaanang pagsubok at paghihirap lalo na sa akademikong gawain na sa halip ay sa loob ng paaralan dapat gawin kasama ang patnubay ng inyong mga guro. Subalit kayo ay nagpunyagi upang mapagtagumpayan ang mga ito. Ako'y nagpupugay sa inyong sipag at pagsisikap. Gayon din ang aking pagpupugay sa inyong mga guro na pinamumunuan ng ating masipag at butihing punong guro. Ginang Hasmin Y. Soriano, sila ang nagplano at nagsagawa ng lahat para sa kayo ay matuto at mahubog bilang mahalagang kasapi at yaman ng ating pamayanan. Sila rin ang nagtaguyod upang maisulong ang para sa bata, para sa bayan. Ako'y bumabati at humahanga rin sa inyong mga magulang o guardians. Sila ang naglaan ng kanilang mahabang panahon at maraming suporta na inyong kinailangan. Sila rin ang humintindi at nagbigay ng inyong pangangailangan o patnubay sa bawat pahina ng inyong mga modules. Higit sa lahat, ako'y kasama ninyo sa pagpupugay at pagpapasalamat sa ating banal na Panginoon sa lahat ng patnubay at biyayang pinagkaloob niya sa ating lahat. Naway magpatuloy inyong tagumpay sa susunod na yugto ng inyong pag-aaral. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Naglilingkod at nagmamahal, Pipi Valencia, Punong Barangay ng San Rafael West. Maraming salamat po.
Another graduation messages to be given by Punong Barangay, Filipino TV Bat of Barangay San Rafael Centro.
Sa kagalang-galang na Deputy Official, School Superintendent Dr. Danilo C. Sison, Assistant School Superintendent Dr. Wilfredo E. Landaye, Curriculum Complementation Division Chief Dr. Cornelio R. Aquino, Public School District Supervisor Dr. Lailani U. Malikdem, Principal 1 Madam Hasmin Y. Soriano, sa lahat ng mga teacher ng San Rafael Elementary School, sa napakasipag at napakasupportive na ina ng bayan ng San Nicolas, Honorable Dr. Alicia Primicias Enriquez, mga sangguniang bayan officials na pinamumunuan ni Honorable Alvin O. Bravo, sa Municipal Councilor, Committee in Education, Honorable Amorsolo R. Pulido, Punong Barangay Melinda G. Rodillas ng San Rafael S, Punong Barangay P. Valencia ng San Rafael West, sa mga mapagmahal at masisipag na mga magulang sa pamumuno ng PTA President Ginang Hasmin P. Perez, Kinder Completers and Graduates Batch 2021. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Filipino Bibat, Punong Barangay ng San Rafael Centro. Unang-una sa lahat, congratulations sa inyo mga graduating student. At ikalawa, tayo ay magbigay pugay at parangal sa ating mga magigiting na guro at mga magulang dahil kundi sa kanila ay di ninyo mararating ang tagumpay na ito. Sa kalagitnaan ng pandemyang ito, COVID-19, patuloy ang pag-asang makapagtapos ng mga estudyante kahit patuloy rin ang mga hamon na dumating sa buhay ay nagawa pa rin ninyong magpatuloy makapagtapos sa pag-aaral. Kaya mga estudyante, ito ang kauna-unahang pagkakataon ng inyong graduation ay magaganap online at virtual. At lagi ninyong tatandaan na malayo pa ang inyong lalakbayin at marami pa kayong matututunan, kaya huwag kayong tumigil, mangarap at abutin ang iyong pangarap. Kaya ang pag-asa ng bayan, ang sabi nga ni Gato Rizal. Kaya pagpatuloy ninyo ang iyong pag-aaral dahil ang edukasyon ang susi sa tagumpay at ito rin ang pagbabago sa takbo ng inyong buhay. At patuloy din tayong manalangin at magpasalamat sa Panginoon at magkaroon ng pag-asa sa hirap ng buhay sa panahong ito. At naway maging mabuti at magandang hemplo kayo sa mga susunod pang henerasyon. Muli, congratulations sa inyong lahat, graduates. May God bless you all. Thank you.
And now let us hear the words of gratitude from Ma'am Marilo T. Munoz, Master Teacher 1 of San Rafael Elementary School.
To our Dynamic Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Danilo C. Sison. To our Approachable Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Wilfredo E. Sindayen. Curriculum Implementation Division Chief, Dr. Cornelio R. Aquino. Our Workaholic and Beautiful Public Schools District Supervisor, Dr. Lelani U. Malikdem. Local government officials headed by our energetic and very supportive Mayor, Dr. Alicia Primicias Enriquez, our active principal, Madam Hasmin Y. Soriano, ever supportive and industrious barangay officials of San Rafael District, headed by our Punong Barangay Melinda Giro Dilias of San Rafael East, Punong Barangay Filipino Tivibat of San Rafael Centro, and Punong Barangay PPP Valencia of San Rafael West, PTE officers and members, fellow teachers, beloved parents, completers and graduates, batch 2020-2021, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good day to everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to bring the graduation ceremony tradition to your home. We are very grateful and honored to provide this virtual graduation experience. To our courageous completers and graduates, batch 2020-2021, congratulations! You will reap the fruit of your diligence. May you always bring with you the knowledge and values your dear alma mater has taught you, and continue the journey of education for life. You all deserve a big round of applause. To our compassionate parents and guardians, although we cannot be together in person this ceremony because of the COVID-19 pandemic, thank you for your efforts and continued support in teaching them at home, and work together to the teachers for the learning of your children. To all our stakeholders who continuously support our school for growth and development in favor of the learning community, thank you so much. We, the San Rafael Elementary School Teaching Force, give our salute and congratulations to all of you. Let us continue our sustainable partnership and collaboration to help contribute in the attainment of national growth and development. Finally, I encourage everyone to move on, carry with you the lessons in life, and we have give from your alma mater from the whole environment that made you resilient and flexible. I pray that our Almighty God will continue to guide your travel in this beautiful life. God bless you all, and once again, congratulations completers and graduates batch 2020-2021.